Hi everyone. Today we are going to be looking at a particular scenario of problem solving using experience in data analytics. So I work for a company that provide services, technological services, and we do partnership with other service providers to deliver certain service to different location depending on customers' need. So one of our service partners, they actually want us to visit some of these locations, and they sent us a list of these locations with their geo coordinate. Now, fortunately, technically it is good. Technically, what they did is correct because they are a technical partner. But I work for the sales team. I work with the sales team. Um, I do a lot of cross-functional activities, but specifically with the sales team. What the sales team are interested in is how you are going to break down what they want in simplest terms, because they are actually not technical people. So now that they sent us this list with geolocations, it has become like a stumbling block because I would need to translate what they have sent into location based. And so, thus the problem solving. Now, I could decide to say I'm going to take it to Google Map and copy the geolocation and paste it there, and hopefully I'll do it one by one. But with the data analytics tool we have and skill set, I always believe that there are ways for you to automate these processes and your life become better. Fortunately, one of the reasons why I took data analytics as a profession is because I love automating stuff. I don't like repeating myself. I believe the things can be done, especially with anything that has to do with data, easily, and you can automate things very easily. So instead of me just taking the list with the geolocation, and they sent me about 38. Now you could just copy paste the location, and what I'm most interested in is to know the location by state, and I should be able to get the region. And these geolocations are in Nigeria. Now, I thought about ways to solve this problem. I've actually solved something similar to this before, and I went online. How do you do like a reversal of geocoordinates to a location? I was fortunate to stumble upon the Google Cloud platform, and amongst its platform is certain APIs you can actually integrate if you have certain access to it. And so the first time I actually created an account, I just was testing to see the waters, to see how some of these APIs behave, and I stumbled upon what they call a geocoding API. What geocoding API helps us do is to do a reversal of geolocation to a particular location. It is interesting, and we are actually going to be using this geocoding API to solve this particular problem. So for anybody who is interested, you could create an account into the GCP, and by the time you go to your left hand side, you will see the list of APIs you can actually activate on your account. And with that being said, so these are API services. So if you go to your enabled API services, there are a lot of services I've actually activated, and they provide you with a key unique to you, and it's with that key you are actually going to use to convert the geocoordinates. You integrate it inside a particular URL, and that helps you do like a reverse you do a reversal from geocoordinates to location. And with that, it looks pretty easy, as Google has some level of, they've gathered a lot of data around geopositioning and location, as we know that we use more Google Map, uh, especially in places, maybe places we are going to and we don't know um, how to navigate through. And with that being said, we're actually going to start with integrating this geocoding API to convert, to automate the conversion of this geolocation to location based. So in order to do that, I've gotten my key and my API key. There is a particular URL they will give you. So maps.googleapis.com/map/API/geocode XML. You enter the lat lng, that is long, equal to, then you enter the geolocation and you enter a key. Fortunately, like I said, I do have one, and so I was just testing one of the site, and so I could just check lat long. Okay, so lat long, going to paste this here, Control V. Oh, and so hopefully it has given me lots of data around this place. Now, while that is cool and all, there are a lot of informations here, frankly. But you could see that if you are in Nigeria, when you see Federal Capital Territory, you know that it's Abuja. So, and Federal Capital Territory is also a state. That's a lot of information. Now, now that I've tested it and it has worked, what I can now do is to come to my Microsoft Excel. Now I want to get the dislocation. Better still, I'm going to create another sheet where I'll copy my latitude and longitude and paste it there, because I want the end result to be clean. So just going to paste it there, Control V, just remove the text wrap. I think remove text wrap completely. Now that I have this. Now, in order for me to use this particular service in Microsoft Excel, what I can do is to call a function called web service. Now, this web service takes a URL, and this URL would be the URL I used here. Now, but the thing is, this is for just one, this URL I used here is just for just one geolocation. How do I then integrate it and automate it in such a way that it will give me for all of these geolocation? That's a very important question. And so for me to do that, let me just enter the URL. I'm going to copy this address and paste it here and enter. Now I need to add, so it's telling it has added like a in a double quotation mark for me, and I'll just click OK. And you can see it has, it has provided me with a lot of information, like a very long list of information. But the problem now is, how then do I automate this stuff in such a way that it will just pick this location and this location, something like that? So in order, the easiest way for me to do is to go, and you see this particular place. Yeah? What I can do is to use an inverted comma here and do an and I am going to redo a cell referencing. So my latitude, and I would lock the column, of course, because I want to drag it down. I will do an and here. Because there's a comma, I'll add my quotation mark, do an and here. I think they call this the ampersand sign, and refer to this cell, lock it like this, and click on enter. So it's telling me there's a problem with the formula, not typing the formula. Okay, good. And so I also think I need to do this and say this. So now what I just did was to add a string, like a string value. So if you want to change a number to a string, I could just say this in Excel, and you can see it's different from if I type 9. 9 will go this way. This just shows you this is a number, and this one mostly a text. And so it's the same thing I did for these guys. I just did an and. So an and will join a string with any other thing. So I can say, let's just say I type web service and I put a 9. In order for me to combine these guys together, I can either use the concatenate, or that's a way to go. I can use the concatenate, or I can use the and. I'll just say this guy, and let's just say I'll give it a space. Then I'll say and I will now do a cell reference into this guy. And you can see I've added these two cell, the cell column, to the two cells together, and to give me one to combine them to give me somewhat like one, not one word per se, just combining them together to give me one value. Now, so it's the same trick I use for this guy, for the web service, and thank God it works. So now what I can do is just to click and drag, and it will provide me with all the information I need as per the different location. Now if I come here, you see that it's saying B4 C4, which is referencing to B4 and C4, this reference. The same way if I go down same thing I'm going to get. And now you'll be wondering, what do I do with a lot of this information? This information is doesn't really make sense. How do I what do I do with this information? And so there's actually a way we can convert this particular informations that has been given to us into readable format. And in order for me to do that, there is formatted address here. I notice that there's formatted address here. So I just want this formatted address here. Now, in order for me to do that, I'm going to say equal to, and I'll say, sorry, hold on. So what I want is this formatted address here, as I earlier mentioned, because it looks like it has like a human readable, you know, between here and here, and the rest are just XML file. Now, in order for me to get this particular formatted address across board, I can say equal. I'm going to filter for XML file, and I'm going to make a cell reference into the D2, and I'm going to say comma, or yeah, comma, my expert. What am I trying to format? What am I trying to get? So what I'm trying to get is formatted address. So I'll say formatted underscore address. Formatted underscore address, which is what is here. I'm just calling out what is here. NDDT double quotation, and that's it. Now, but the problem now I'm having is it's going to give me a column based. So it's going to spread across the column, and I don't want it. I just want it to spread across the row, because I need to create other the I need to get for other format the other formatted address for each of these cell. Now, in order for me to just make it row wise, I could just click on this and say transpose. What transpose will do for me to just tilt it for me. So if it is horizontal wise, if you use transpose, it switch it vertically, and if vertical, it switch it, change it to horizontal. So it's like to pivot and unpivot a particular cell, or an array of cell. So now I'm just going to choose just this my I'm just going to add the transpose for just this particular cell, and click on enter, and you can see it has given me like horizontal wise information instead of vertical. And I just click and drag to the end, and it has done its work. Now what I can then do, because it's actually creating information per cell. Now the next thing I can do is to concatenate all of the cells, and let's see where it's spilled. If I'm not mistaken, it's spilled to S. So I can do without this S because it's Nigeria, and I think I'm fine. Lagos is here, which is a state. It's important, so I'll just do from, I'm going to concatenate from E to R, and it's a little bit of a long process. So what I can now do, since I know that the information here is what I copied here, I'll just come to this particular sheet and say maybe address would be the name. I'll just say equal to concat, and I'll start concatenating. I'll come back here. E comma. Maybe I'm going to give a space because I want to give space between two of them. So what I'm just going to do is just to copy this guy. I believe there should be a shorter way to do this. So what I want is F, then comma, space, comma. So I'll copy it like this. Control V, G, H, and so on. So up to R. That's what I want to do, and I want to give space in between. So I'm just going to pause this video, and when I come back, I should be done concatenating. So I'm done with the concatenate, and I'll just click enter. And so it has combined everything for me in one particular cell, which is what I want. And you might be wondering, oh, why didn't I just take one of the cells and stuff? I want all the information there. I don't want to be found wanting. I will take one part, because the information, if you can see it, the last part, which is S, is Nigeria. But there's Lagos, Nigeria, there's Lagos. So some cells are up to I and like that. And it looks like there's some form of information here. And so, which is why I don't want to take chances. Now that I'm done, I'm sure that this is what I want. The next thing I want to do is, I know the states in the federation, there are 36 states, and they are countable. Except for, okay, so if you notice for the last information there, there is nothing, which is fine. I could just easily copy this and paste it somewhere on Google Map, and hopefully I'm going to get the geolocation. It's going to give me an idea of where the geolocation is, and it's still fine. So, but for the rest, you see, you have a lot of information. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to Python, and I'm going to create a list. This list would be a list of the states in Nigeria. So the tool I'm going to be using is Jupyter Lab, which is part of the Anaconda packages. If you guys don't know about it, just try and check. But I'm very sure a lot of you guys that do data analytics would know about Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter Lab. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, of course, I'm going to import pandas and as an alias. When I'm done with that, I want to read my file. So I've already navigated to where my file is. I'm going to save this guy so that it will have like the update I've done. So of course, df equal read underscore. So I'm going to read Excel. Right. Oh, sorry. pd.read Excel, and I'll just navigate where the directory to where my file is. So yep, this guy, and yeah, going to run it. Let's see what's going to happen. Nothing. So it means everything is fine. Now by default, actually you're supposed to put like a sheet name here, but by default it will read the first sheet. So my first sheet is PHT, and the second sheet is sheet 1. If I still run it, it's still fine. So you notice here is PHT, but by default I may not necessarily need to put it since that PHT is the first sheet. But just for clarity, I'll just put it. The next thing I'm going to do is to read my file. So I'll just say df dot maybe head and put like 3. I just want to see the first 3 um, the first three uh, rows. So what I'm having is a problem. The reason is because if you notice in my Excel file, there's a space up here and there's another space on the A column and the first row. That is not a problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is and so because of that, this for the first row of this data set is actually supposed to be my header. So I'm going to graduate the first row to be my header, and in order for me to do that, I am going to include specific syntax, or include specific includes some other information here, so that this can the zero the first row, of course, which the index is 0, as we're working in Python, should be promoted to the header. It is really important, and I'm going to include that. I'm going to include that particular information in my pd.read underscore excel method. So in order for me to do that, I will just go to the pandas read read Excel file. And so if you look at the documentation here, the pandas.read underscore Excel has a lot of methods you can actually use. One of it is skip rows. So what I want to do, as we are having a problem, is to actually skip my row, since we wanted to skip the first row and graduate it to our header. So if we scroll down a little, you would see that, let's go to where the skip row is. So it's list like, so you have to put it in a list, int or callable, optional. So line numbers to skip 0 index, or number of lines to skip int at the start of the file. If callable function will be evaluated against the row in this, returning true if the row should be skipped, or false otherwise, and false otherwise. An example of a valid callable argument would be this lambda function. Now I could just I'll go back to my my Jupyter lab and put comma, add the method skip rows. And so I'm going to use an indices. The index I want to use is, I want to remove the 0. I actually want to skip it. I want to make it the header, so I would skip it. And so from this number index sorry, from the second and the third index is what I want to be my role value, my role information. So I'll just put it in I'll put a list there, and I'll put 0. I want to take this off the board, not delete. I'll just skip it, and my row will actually start from 1 2. Now when I'm done entering the position I want to skip, I'll run it, and now if I read, you can now see that my account name latitude, longitude, and address is now, I have a header. Now, in order for me to remove um, this particular unwanted column unnamed, there are several ways you could go about it. The one thing I can actually do is just to call out df is equal to our df. I'll now just call out the columns I actually need. And I'm done with that. There's no error. I can now read my file now. You can see that everything looks in order. Now, like I said, I'm going to create a list. I already have I know the list of states in the country is 36, so I'm going to create a list. So I can just create a list called state, and I'll start creating my list. So I went somewhere to go and get the list of pasted. Now, so these are all the states in the federation. That's the 36 states. And now that I've created my list, I'm going to loop this particular state on this address. So the methodology is I'll loop through this state using the for loop. So maybe for state in state, if state is found in any of these row, call out this state. So it will be for state in state. Then I will now loop through the address too, for maybe address, or for I in address. If state is in address, then call out state. Basically, that's what I'm going to do. But I am going to create a function for it, or I can say get states, and I'll put an argument called location. So now that I'm done creating the name of my function, and I'm not going to loop, I'll say for state in state. That's this particular state. I'll now give it a condition. If state in location, that's my argument, location, I'll now say so it's an if statement. What do I want? I just want to return state. Else, just return false, or I can say return 0 if I want. And I have run that particular this particular function. There is no error. It means everything is fine. So now that we've created this, we are now going to apply it in our table. So I'm going to create a new column called states. As a state is equal to df address, which I'm singling out this particular address. So dot. There is a function in pandas, or a method in pandas called apply. So what it does is you have a you whatever part of the method it takes. So it's a function. Part of the method it takes is a function. Maybe you've created a function somewhere, and you know the axis. How do you want to apply it? Is it row wise or column wise? And by default, I think by default should be row. But so by default should be row. It's row, and so it means if you don't enter axis, it knows that it's row. And what I want to do is to apply this row wise. So I'll say dot apply, and where is my function? I'll say get underscore state, and run it. I'm quite surprised it didn't give me any error. Now that I've done that, I will now call my data frame dot, let's say, head, just to give me the the first 5 rows of data. Shift enter. Oh, so it's showing me false. Yeah, this is interesting. Oh, so okay, sorry. I think I'm supposed to do this. Click enter. Oh yeah. So now the first 5 rows of data is showing me that there is something. Let me do the first step. But unfortunately, this particular place looks like it belongs to Abuja, but it's showing me Niger, and that is fine. The problem is Nigeria. So the problem now is Nigeria is Niger without the IA. So I believe that's what is wrong with this particular address. So what I'm now going to do is to go back to um, my Excel file. I'll do Control H, find and replace. So I just want to remove Nigeria. So it is protected, most likely because I'm using it. So I do. So I think I would just save this particular sheet, and let me see. I'm going to run it again. So find and replace. Control H. I would close the file and launch it back and remove Nigeria from it. And so I actually found out that because this is formularized, I will need to copy and paste as value. Just Control C, right click, and Control, and see, once I've done that, I can now do Control H. I'll say remove Nigeria, just give a space. You can see it has removed anything that has Nigeria. I would just save. I would save, and when I'm done, I'm just going to run my code again. So I'll just click on the first one, and let me just restart Canal and run also. Let's see what's going to happen. So now it's looking like it is giving us um, somewhat of, you know, better than what it gave us before. It's quite interesting. So we have Niger, um, Kebbi, Zamfara, Katsina, as you can see here from the address. So now you have federal capital, you have Abuja. So if you look at my list here, I actually added federal capital territory and Abuja. Nasarawa, I think I should also add. Nasarawa eh, is NAS. I thought it was NASSARAW. So now that I'm done with this, what I can now do is to say df dot to underscore csv. I want to save this, and I'll just say cleaned cleaned dataset location, and I'll click on run. Now, fortunately enough, it has created my CSV file. If I just click, and now you have something like that. And so I could just go to my folder, right click on my folder, and go to, oh, if I made a mistake, I was supposed to put .csv. Any apologies. The file extension to so .csv, and do that again. Now you can see it's a little bit, it's more readable in the tabular form. And if you scroll through, you can see the state. Now this last one that is returning false is really fine. What I could just do is just to copy this particular geolocation, go to Google Map, and I think it is 5.1. Yeah, so I'll just go to Google Map, just do this, or just go to Google, do that. Let me go to maps. I'll still paste that particular, oh, this is geolocation. When it's showing me Gulf of Guinea, that's just weird. Like, literally weird. Gulf of Guinea. Really, it's showing me Gulf of Guinea. That's weird. Also, most likely, this geolocation is faulty, or they gave me the wrong geolocation. But either ways, out of 38 rows, we're able to get 37, which is somewhere around 98% success. And so that's how I actually solve this particular problem. And this is just 38 rows of data. I would like to say that there was this particular method I used to solve this problem. I solved a different data set that had the same issue, but 4,000 rows of data, and that was a very serious headache for me. Before then, it actually took me 2 weeks to go back and forth with the technical team of our service partner. Please give us the geolocation of the 4,000 rows of data, because At that particular time, I'd never come across the geocoding API, and that was a very, very serious problem. And I didn't want to, I'll have the what came off the top of my head was I'll have to go to Google and start, pasting all the latitudes and longitude, and then that would be a very serious problem. And so look at, I have this. This was the problem I used that made me look for a particular for a solution. And I was fortunate to see the geocoding API. And if I click on the row, you will see the count here. We have 4,437, and it took me a very long time with back and forth. No, we cannot do this. The technical guys, and a lot of hassle until I was able to use the geocoding API and some Python code, just as you as you witness here, and I was able to come up with the state. And of course, we have six geopolitical political location, and the rest is history. Anyways, thank you very much. I'm going to, if you want, I might post this data set um, together with the video, and if you like, and you find benefit from, if you like it, if you like the materials and the video, and you find benefit in it, please do like, subscribe, and share with other people with the hope that it will benefit them too. It's the only way I could that it will benefit me as well. The more subscriber I have, the more um, zeal I would share tips um, on problem solving as a data analyst. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.